Chapter 10 Handing Over the Reins. Once the king saw that Snow was safe and unthreatened by Moonsilver, he relaxed. Klaus tied horse next to Frost and joined them. The stable master observed the condition of the two new horses. These horses are underweight, Your Majesty. They need attention, soon. Snow's father eyed the farmer, who was still kneeling. Good sir, he said, please stand. Can you explain the condition of these animals? Snow noticed the man straighten his back slowly, as though he was in pain. I'm ashamed to have your highness see this. Clarence has always been the real leader of this farm. He must have realized sooner than I did that we needed help and ran off to find it. Clarence is Moonsilver, Snow explained to her father. My daughter has grown quite fond of Clarence, the king said. We found him injured and hungry in the forest. The king surveyed the rest of the farm, and it seems he's not the only animal in this sorry state. What happened? Snow answered. The farmer struck Snow as a gentle, caring man. How could he have let his animals go hungry? She wondered. I've grown old, princess, the man said. Running a farm alone is hard work. I had a nasty fall about a month back, and I haven't been able to get around much since. Haven't been able to take care of my chores like I used to. The man couldn't meet their eyes. He was addressing Moonsilver instead. I'm very sorry, he said. I'm very sorry. He repeated, almost a whisper this time. Snow's heart ached for the farmer, and it ached for Moonsilver and the rest of the animals there. What is your name, sir? The king asked the farmer. Huber, Your Majesty. Paul Huber. The king's mouth dropped open in surprise. Not the Paul Huber. Paul Huber who used to ride Flying Fiona? Snow and Benjamin shared a look. Who? They both mouthed. One and the same, Mr. Huber answered sheepishly. The king stumbled over his words. Why, I used to watch you race. You were the greatest champion the kingdom had seen until you came along, Mr. Hubert finished. Well, yes, the king said with a modest smile. I always wondered why you stopped racing. Mr. Hubert shook his head. My beloved Fiona couldn't race anymore. I hoped her colt would follow in her footsteps, but he hated racing, and I was already too old then. Mommy! With no rider to take over for me anyhow. Where's Fiona's colt now? Snow asked. Well, you know him as Moonsilver, Mr. Hubert answered. Snow was in awe. A racehorse's offspring with no interest in racing. She and Moonsilver had even more in common than she'd realized. So let's see here, Klaus chimed in. We have a racehorse who doesn't want to race. A racehorse who was born to race, he pointed at Frost. A master rider with no one to train and a farm full of animals who need care. Klaus raised his eyebrows at the king. The king nodded as though he knew what Klaus was thinking. Mr. Huber, the king said, what would you say to moving into the castle and training the next champion racer? Snow's heart sank. Oh no, she thought. She had to speak up before it was too late. But to her surprise, the king put his arm around Benjamin. I think this boy is going to be faster than you or I could have ever dreamed of being. Benjamin's face lit up in surprise. Me? He asked. I've seen the way you are with Frost, the king said, and the fact that you beat me here, one-handed no less, was very impressive. I'm honored, Your Majesty, Benjamin bowed his head. As am I, Mr. Huber said. But what will become of my animals? The king hesitated. Leave them to me, Snow White piped up. We can bring them to the castle, can't we, Father? I know just what they need. And what's that? The king asked. Snow smiled up at him. Good food, a clean, warm place to sleep, And love, of course. Her father laughed. Of course, he repeated. It sounds like you do know just what they need. He turned to Mr. Hubert. We have plenty of room at the castle. They'll be in excellent hands. Snow threw her arms around her father's waist. Thank you, father, she breathed into his robes. Thank you. It took several trips and the use of a few royal wagons to transport all the animals and Mr. Hubert's possessions to the castle. Moonsilver trotted along with a new bounce in his step. He hopped around playfully as his fellow farm animals entered the royal stables. Mr. Hubert had agreed without question that not only should Snow be the one to care for his animals, but Moonsilver should remain her horse and keep his new name. Klaus and the king led Mr. Hubert up to the castle to introduce him to the rest of the staff, while Snow and Benjamin worked together to get all the animals settled into their new homes. I guess your wishing well worked, Benjamin said as they put out some food for the very grateful pigs. I told you, Snow said. The well is magic. So is the way you got that horse to listen to you, Benjamin said. I couldn't do that. Snow shrugged. And I couldn't get Frost to listen to me, so we'll both just stick to what we know for a while. Deal? Benjamin grinned. It's a deal, Princess. Oh, and one more thing, Snow added. What's that? Benjamin asked. Call me Snow. You got it, Snow. They finished up with the pigs before moving on to the sheep. Moonsilver and Frost whinnied from their stalls as Benjamin and Snow passed. The two friends stopped to give each horse an apple and a loving pat on the nose. As Snow stroked Moonsilver's crescent markings, she thought about the wonderful days ahead that would be spent caring for these animals, while Benjamin was training to race, guided by her father and Mr. Hubert. It seemed everyone has gotten what they wished for, animals and humans alike. And that is the end of Snow White's birthday wish. Thank you again for reading with me on our first finished book of the year 2026. Till next time, see you real soon.